I defended you against critics who during that run finally threw up their hands and said, it's divine intervention. It's all God's will. It led to, I think you saw the Saturday Night Live skit in which there was actually God telling you in the locker room, Tim, it's all me. I did this whole thing. So help me out on this. I do share your faith. Don't pretend to be as faithful as you are. But I wonder about this. How much of a role does God play in winning or losing a football game?
I mean, that's a good question. I think for me, when I'm praying before games and during games, when I get on a knee and what's become Tebow is, I'm asking the Lord for strength, whether I win, whether I lose.
I heard you when you were mic'd up.
Whether I'm a hero or the GOAT,
okay.
I'm still going to be the same person. I'm going to treat others the way I want to be treated. I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to do what's right. And regardless, I'm going to give him the glory. And part of taking a knee is humbling yourself, and it's a form of showing humility where you're putting someone else first and putting the Lord first, and that's why I do it. And more than anything, more than asking for wins or losses, I'm asking that I have a platform to honor him.
Yet it was reported the day after the Bears game in the Denver Post that you told a teammate during the game, I think it was Woodyard, that God told you you were going to win that game?
I didn't specifically tell that to him, but, there's different times when, I walk over to players and, just say, let's just go out there and give everything we have and let's honor the Lord.
But that didn't happen.
And God's going to do something great, And because regardless, that doesn't mean win or lose. And, I've never predicted a game because I don't know. And, but, I do know that if we go out there and honor the Lord, then ultimately it's bigger than a win or a loss.
So, bottom line, you don't think God decides football games?
I think God's involved in every aspect of our life.
Is it beyond you to know?
It's absolutely beyond me to know. I think God's in every aspect of our life, regardless. And I think the greatest thing is if we're honoring him with what we do.
Okay, because clearly if you're playing against a rival quarterback who's as faithful as you are,
absolutely,
who knows, right? Would God choose him over you? I don't think so. Do you?
Well, you don't know. I mean, whether it's part of God's plan to lose the game, win the game, it doesn't matter, just as long as we honor him. And I think that's the biggest thing, for me to understand is God's plan doesn't always mean it's going to be great or it's going to be easy or life's going to be easy. It just means that honoring him is always the best way. It doesn't mean it's the most famous way or the most fun way, but it always is going to end up being the best.
Do you believe your faith is the biggest reason you are such an astonishingly polarizing figure, a divisive figure in this country? Everybody has a strong opinion, love him or hate him, on Tim Tebow. Does it start with?
I'm sure my faith is part of that. I know I have a lot of supporters because of it, which I'm very thankful for. And I'm very thankful for all the support that I've received and the people that are praying for me, that are backing me, that I get the nice letters from. And, I really appreciate that support. Definitely means a lot. And, on the other side, the motivation definitely fuels me. And, you're always going to have critics. I've always had them, and I'll always have them for the future. And for me, I always use that as motivation, but more than anything, the support is what drives me the most.
So would you break it down? Is it more your faith or more the way you play, which is often not so great for a while, and then when it's time, really great, which baffles people, it mystifies people, it torments people?
Well, I think definitely my faith plays a role in that, but more than anything, it's just, going out there and trying to play and honor the Lord with how I play the game and with how I handle myself and with how I treat people, and regardless win or lose or how I play.
So being that guy, that polarizing figure, doesn't really bother you?
Well, being a polarizing figure has pros and cons. And I'm a very relaxed, laid back, low-key person that likes to do a lot of normal things and not very extravagant at all. And so it does make hanging out with my brothers and my friends and family a little bit harder, which can sometimes be frustrating, to be honest. But at the same time, the pros so outweigh the cons because, I'm part of building a hospital in the Philippines. And
Yeah.
we're building 17 Timmy's playrooms, 6 of them in third world countries and 11 of them here in the States. And we have the opportunity to bring in dreams come true kids every single game, and have an opportunity to spend a day with Joey Norris, who I met on Twitter because he said Tebowing while chemoing. And that's ultimately worth it because we play a game that at the end of the day is a game, and it doesn't matter whether you win, whether you lose. Yes, we're super passionate about it. A lot of people care about it, but it's how you handle yourself. And for me, it's about using a platform that God has given me because it doesn't matter how many games I win or how many touchdowns I score. If I don't use a platform to influence people's lives, then I believe it's wasted. But I believe if I take the opportunity to use my platform and be a great example, be a great example for the next generation, be someone that a mom or a dad can look to their son and say, there's someone that's trying to do it the right way. There's someone that's trying to live with character, strength, and honor, and do what's right, do his best, and treat others the way he wants to be treated. Then ultimately, that's worth it because then I believe I'm having a life of significance and meaning because I'm affecting other people's lives in a positive example.
I appreciate that, but do you realize, and I voiced some concern after you lost at Foxborough, you said that evening this was still a good day for all the reasons you just gave. Can you understand how some of your teammates wouldn't appreciate that because you just got blown off the field in a second-round playoff
But
game?
I think they know me, and I think they know me and why I'm saying that because there's not, I really believe they know how much I care and how much I put into that game. And, I show up there early every morning. I stay late every night. I run every sprint hard, and I condition, and I work as hard as I possibly can. So they know my heart and how I go into the game, and they also know my heart and wanting to help people. So I don't think they would take that the wrong way.
All right, let's start with Stephen A. because you're watching this saying we're going to get deep with the reaction to this. What do you have?
First order of business, sensational job with that.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Sensational.
Especially coming from you.
Absolutely, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Fantastic. Tim Tebow said a lot of things there, and I definitely understand and appreciate where he was coming from. It was not something that I didn't know. I knew it by watching him, that he is incredibly sincere about that. So this is not meant for him because it's great what he's doing, and it's great that he thinks like that. Wouldn't change it a bit. I hope this has nothing to do with him. But at the same time, it has everything to do with him because what he has to understand is that along the way, not only are people going to parse his comments, like 1 minute winning is everything, the next minute it's not, okay? But also, they're using him. When you talk about Tebow mania and the critics per se, what they're talking about is you want us to be just like him. And a lot of people ain't. They could feel their love for God is sincere and it's deep, but they ain't him, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I gave my life back to God a year ago. God has been a constant presence in my life for many, many years, despite my trials and tribulations. I am nothing like Tim Tebow. And I have no desire to be anything like Tim Tebow because I was a journalist by trade. So what happens is that in constant pursuit of the truth and making sure that people not get away with being phony or duplicitous or anything like that, making sure that you have a forum to provoke authenticity. Mm-hmm. So people know that what you're selling is what legitimately deserves to be bought by the public at large. People like myself, Skip Bayless, Mike Wilbon, J.A. Donde, Michael Smith, and the list goes, Adam Schefter, Morton, Susie Cole, everybody. The list goes on and on. You too, Jay. What we are is we're the resident cops per se in that regard. Mm-hmm. There's a level of order. You might not like Skip and I, but when you tune in to First Take every day, Skip is Skip. And Stephen A. Mm-hmm. We ain't apologizing for it. Love us, hate us, or whatever. We're just trying to be real. We're just trying to be real, not just about ourselves, but about the issues that confront us every day.
Right.
When you look at a guy like Tim Tebow, you understand that he is legitimate with how he approaches it. But you fear that the public at large that supports him not just because they like him, but because they want to use him as an example of what they want the rest of us to be. And what we're saying, people like myself, Skip, others, whomever, who love God, who appreciates God, I pray every day. How do you think I've made it to the point that I've made it? With my mouth, being a black man in this country, with the things that I am willing to say? God has got me here. It certainly wasn't me, but I'm not going to go. I'm just thankful. No. I don't have the luxury of doing that. It's a different thing. And so when Tim Tebow is out there and he's Tebowing and things of that nature, I'm not faulting him for it. But I don't want him to think that he has critics because of him. He has critics because of what his supporters want everyone else to be. And that's where the resistance comes, because a lot of people on their best day cannot be that young man. They can't be him.
But he is a pretty good role model.
Yeah, great. Fantastic. No doubt.
If you want to pick one, I'd pick him.
I have no problem with that.
Back to the God issue that you and I talked about.